Okay. Take out your phones, turn them on.
그래서 님 설명 자세히 해주세요. 설명 다 해주세요. 나 그게 문제지. 수학 떠들고 또 해봐. 또? 방금 문제 맞지? 뭔가 삐진다 오늘. 노래가 맞잖아. 어떻게 왜 카드가 안 될까? 최근? 집 가서 진행해.
Who's missing?
벌써 5월 4일이. 눈 빨리고 진짜 빨리 지금 처리를 해주신다. 구독 꾸준히 한 시간적이고 진짜 빨리 해주고.
Anybody else?
저기 출발 한 번만 찍었는데.
Everybody else? Okay, that's 17. So we have 17 students. Each bottle is 750 milliliters. How much per student? Figure it out. Figure it out.
One more time.
We have the count's important because we're doing tasting today. So each bottle is 750 milliliters. We have 17 students.
얼마나 되냐고.
We got two bottles, two wines, 2 bottles of each. So 750 times 2 divided by 17 is. Hi, home people. You're missing a good wine today. Just open it up.
1,400을 열고 그냥 나 1,400이야? 2병 있잖아. 370ml. 너가 12ml밖에 안 되는데. 82ml.
So how many milliliters per student? 750 times 2 divided by 82 milliliters each. 82 divided by 28.3. 82 divided by 28.3
Yeah.
is 82 divided by 28.3. Divide.
나누기.
By 28.3
Yes.
is
나눈 건데.
from the beginning. 750 times 2 is what? I'm trying to figure out how much per student.
88. 2병이라며.
Now it's 18. Turn on your phone.
750을 17명이 먹으려면 43일인데 2병씩 일단 그러니까 곱하기 2 하면은 88
Okay, divide that by 28.3. That can't be the right answer.
28 나누라 아니냐? 28? 나누
Write it down here. 750 times 2 is 750, 750 milliliters times 2 equals what? Answer. Divide by 18 students, or 19? 18 students. Eighteen, 19, divide by 19. Yeah. Okay, that's 79 milliliters per student. Now divide that by 28.3. Divide that, that's how many milliliters in 1 ounce.
하면 78점. Next.
Divide that. What do I write so small for? Divide that number by 28.3. Yeah, divide 28.3. 2.7. That's 2.7 shot glasses. So just, I'll get a shot glass. I want to make sure everybody has enough. You're right? So I wanted to figure that out. What I did, once again, it's simple math. You guys are Koreans, supposed to be good at math. Hey, what happened? Asians are supposed to be best at math. Everybody always says that. You get the highest scores in America. The Korean Americans do really good in science and science. So anyway, we got 2 bottles at 250 milliliters times 2 equals what? You guys should, especially if you're going to be cooking students or chefs, you must know this kind of math really quick. Because I need to figure out how much portion size. Basically, figure out portion size. I got 2 bottles at 750 milliliters, and I got basically 20 people. How do you split that equal? So it's basically 2 ounces each. I put it in ounces because a shot glass has top and bottom line is 1 ounce, which is 28.3 milliliters. You know, so once again, that's a good number to know. A shot glass is 28.3 milliliters. So we can convert it out very quickly. You guys should be better at that. I'll tell you. Okay, anyway, today's wine. Chateauneuf du Pape. It means the new castle of the Pope. In 1500s, popes usually in Vatican, but the church itself had a lot of changes, and the Pope was French, and he moved to France and started a vineyard. I was trying to find out the great blend, Grenache, Moldavia, Syrah, and others. They don't tell you what's in the bottle. What's the difference between an old world wine and a new world wine? The biggest difference. What's the big difference between old world wine and new world wine? Old world wines generally do not have the varietal on there. New world wines always have it. Always have it. Old world wines now, some French wines now are starting to put the varietals on there because people understand varietals. You guys understand a little more about varietals. You know, so they're doing that more, but generally they don't. It's like their recipe or their secret recipe. They don't want anybody really to know what it is. Right? AOC, appellation. Right? That means like Gyeongsangnam-do, Gyeongsangbuk-do in Korea, in counties, prefectures, the areas, the regions. Right? So that's what the AOC controls. Right? The Rhone River Valley, which is really, really, in the beginning of the class, I showed you some pictures and from St. Emilion and the Rhone Valley. Rhone Valley's down south. It's close to Italy, but it's maritime climate. I don't know if you remember in the American ones, we talked about if most vineyards that produce world-class wines are near the oceans. It just seems to work that way. And I'll show you a map of France here. But it's another thing too that I learned just recently, because I planted some grapes at my house in Seoul. Some Korean grapes that I'm going to try to make some wine with maybe in 10 years, I don't know. They grow very slowly. But I found out with growing grapes, they need bad soil. They don't like rich soil, good soil, like where you have your house plants. They like soil that's really rocky, and I found this picture. This is in the Rhone Valley. I got this on the internet. This is not one I took. But that's rocky. That's really nasty. Look at the age of those. And that's what it takes. It takes a lot of years for it to develop. That's for sure. The style. You guys do your homework? Because this is rich, intense wine. It'll go right to your head. You'll see. When we talked about like body and mouthfeel and all that other thing, this is a heady wine. I don't even have to open it to know that it's a very heady wine. You take a sip of it, the esters, everything just goes right to your head and make it turn really flush. So it's very rich and intense. Look at the drinking windows on. We have 2016, which we'll put up there later. So look at that. We have 2016. Right, the drinking windows. It's amazingly long. These wines are usually are always high quality. And they suggest like that, oh there, lamb. The idea of Yangogi or beef or anything like that, you need a strong wine, a strong meat. That's for sure with this type of wine. It's a very pretty place. Okay, the Rhone Valley, all the valleys, all of France is pretty. But these are all vineyards, all the way around the whole valley. And certainly the terroir. Terroir is what? What's terroir? Climate, soil conditions. What's the difference between climate and weather? Because today it's cloudy out. That's today's weather. But Korea's climate is more like the Loire Valley, in that way that it has a cold winter and a hot summer. A lot of Germany's that way too. Germany has very hot summers. People don't realize that. They got cold winters, very good. You know, like Daegu. Actually, like Daegu, that weather it drops really cold very fast at night, and then the sun comes out in the morning and it gets warm very quickly. And our second bottle. Oh, we'll get it back. Okay, good. Paris is up here somewhere, and there's no growing regions up there. This is the Loire Valley. This is the Burgundy region. This area is a Burgundy, but it's kind of considered this way. And they're known for their red wines. It's just known for that. Alsace, this area here, goes back and forth between Germany and France for hundreds of years. So they speak both languages. They make very good beer. They make very good wine. Right now it's part of France. 100 years ago it's part of Germany. And 100 years is not that long. They go back and forth there. Rieslings, Pinot Gris, Riesling, all white wines. Down here, Gamay, Shiraz. Where's Rosé blends. But the Cabernet Sauvignon region here, this map doesn't really say. And then over here, Bordeaux, which is where St. Emilion is, Cabernet and Merlot blends. Right, so these are the southern style wines are more red wine. Favorite, I guess. But talk about maritime, by the ocean. Nothing up here, this is too wet up here. It's just raining all the time there, so. Like England, the weather here is like England. That's why England has no wine production to speak of at all. The Loire Valley, this is Paris is like here. If you ever get to France, get on one of the tour buses. You know, for like 10 euros, they'll take you here. It's very close, and they'll drive you up and down beautiful chateaus, They make good wines. Some people don't think that the wine. I really, after being in the Bordeaux region of the Loire, I really like French reds. I wasn't really a red wine drinker until I went to these areas. And that's one other thing too, is that when you go to these wine regions and stuff like that, you really appreciate the wine more than just like what we do here, like in a bottle. I really suggest, if you guys ever get to Paris, get on a bus for 10 euros, they'll take you around the whole area, even sample wines. And this is pretty far. Down this area, France is very big. How old is France? The country, this country. How old is it? Just curious. 800 AD. 800 AD is when France as we know it basically drew those lines. Yeah, there's been shifting and changes, but it's basically been this size. Italy? How old? As we know it today, Italy. Like 1860. Germany? 1880. So France has always been the powerhouse of Europe. Today we don't think about it that much. We think about like, you know, we think about EU, you think about German cars. You know, you think about like Germany and well, even though now England's out of the EU. But France itself was a very important Western culture molder. They did everything. They did the operas, they did the cuisine. The word cuisine is French. My passport, American passports, English and French. Because 100 years ago, French was the English of today. Today, England replaced French. But 100 years ago, everybody spoke French. Well, that was the second language. You would have been learning French, not English, 100 years ago. So we look at France today, it's really just like a cute old place, but it was very much Louis Pasteur, science, so much comes out of France. And besides just the good wines. Louis Pasteur, I know. Ouillou guy, right? He made milk clean, Louis Pasteur. But he did, 90% of his work was with wine. He's figured out how to make wine good and fresh and the whole. Milk is just amazing that people dying from old bad milk. So that's why he's known for it today. Provence is this is a very nice area. This whole area is very nice. I really do like that. Here, there's a little country here at the door. These are mountains here, and Spain's here, Italy's here, Switzerland's here, Germany's here. Well, Germany's up to here, Denmark, Luxembourg, and Belgium. But you guys should know the maps. You guys, that's another thing. The freshmen are very funny on that. I asked them. They don't know where the countries are. And the next one is Chateau Tessier. Saint-Emilion. It's a Grand Cru. What's a Grand Cru? Good quality means great growth. It means that they've been making good quality wines according to the AOC for like over 75 years. You make a good wine for 75 years, bam, you get a Grand Cru designation. Doesn't necessarily have to do with price. It has to just do with the quality of the wine. Excuse me a second. Sorry, I can't stand this. One thing you should learn from this class that's very important, that price doesn't really drive the quality of wine. It does to a degree, because if you buy a bottle of wine for O'Chunnon, yeah, you're going to get a bottle of O'Chunnon. But a lot of times, wines will not last long. The Chateau de Pape has up to 2030 that you can drink it. This one doesn't have the lifespan as long. I mean, as longer. This one it was a little clearer. Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, which I really don't know what that is. I looked it up. It's a varietal grape. Malbec and Carmera. Carmera has always been like the 5%er. Malbec's been like 5%. They always put small amounts of it. So I assume these are sweeter grapes. I assume that they are. This one, like I said, I really know nothing about it. But Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, it's called the Bordeaux blend. All Bordeaux's have one or the other or both in there. So this would, you can't tell, but this would probably be like 75 to 80% 10 to 15%, and then sprinkling these little ones in there to balance it out, to balance out the acids and things like that. This promises to be a very good wine. It should be at least. Appellation, Saint Emilion, it's a Grand Cru, means great growth. Right? Wine style, red, savory, and classic. It's a classic red wine. And classic doesn't mean old-fashioned, it's just typical. You know, like saying, Casas, typical Korean beer. I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's just a typical beer. And then the food suggestions of beef and venison are saso. But the reason why I put that on there, because I know Koreans, you guys don't eat a lot of in America we eat a lot of deer, not a lot, but you can get it, a lot of deer. It's very strong tasting. So once again, you see a wine that says, oh, beef, venison, game, G-A-M-E, game, how about it with food. Example, what? In Korea, you have guang. That's considered game, it's wild. Mentage would be considered game. And in my house in Seoul, there's a lot of mentage running around. I'd like to get one. I'll tell you, that's probably good eating. Mentage is probably very good. That's all I actually have to say about that. Once again, the label, 13%, 13.5%, which is pretty high. We'll bring everything up. Any questions? Any questions on French wines? There's a lot of information on the video. Hopefully you guys took down the key points. Okay. Moving on. Oh yeah, here's some. This is the Loire Valley. I mean, Gonna go set up everything. I got some brie cheese. Oh yeah, you saw the video on cheese, right?
Yeah.
Did I show you the beer video? Beer, lecture. No.
No.
Now school requires a certain amount of minutes on the videos, but the information on French wines, I don't want to give you too much information because it is too much, especially when it comes to testing. He thought the cheese was going to be on there, right? You thought cheese was going to be on the mid-test? No. Somebody told me, they said, no. Yeah, anything, if I put like the cheese or beer or Yangju on there, it has nothing to do with class. That's just for your own information. Any of the videos that have to do with wine is what's important to you guys. The other ones are for just extra information, because you should know about what kind of cheese is brie. What is it? Very good. It's soft ripened cheese. It's a soft ripened cheese. As we had cheddar here before. What's cheddar? Hard ripened cheese. It's pretty simple. There's just a lot of different cheeses in the world, that's for sure. But that information is important for you guys. So if I post something like next week is going to be New Zealand and Australia wines. Wait, I have enough time for that. I filled that up with that. And we've got a nice New Zealand wine. It's not a Chenin Blanc, which is funny. It was from the Marlborough region. That promises to be good. Once again, I give a list to the Jogyo of what countries I want, what years I want. And we get it, what comes in, I have to do the homework. A lot of these I don't know. Obviously, I can't taste all the wines in the world, but I know that New Zealand wine is going to be a good one. I'm trying to get an Australian one. I only got one wine so far, but Australia has a lot of problems with wine production, not because of wildfires, but there's been some counterfeiting. There's a thing called ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol. Anybody have a car? Chop? No. There's a chemical you put into your car, it's ethylene glycol, it tastes sweet. And they found traces of that in Australian wines. So they're thinking that somebody's going mixing this stuff up with water. It's a very bad thing. So it might not get two New Zealand wines, but I want to get Australian and New Zealand wine. We'll see what that is. But that's next week's video. Next week is online class, and it's going to be about Australia and New Zealand wines. And really, honestly, the New Zealand wines I know very little about, because I never really drank much. I drank much more Australian wines. But what I've been reading about them, they're actually, there's a few surprises coming up with that, that's for sure. So everybody grab one of this? Two glasses. Two glasses. You three, come with me? Yeah, come on. Set up your station. What I'm concerned about is that you guys aren't taking good notes. And it's true, you guys have to take good notes. You're at home doing it yourself. But like I do here, and if something has a number, it's important. It really is. Or a letter, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all that stuff's important. I'm going to go quickly through this, just to make sure. I'm going to put out the key points. We already talked about the map. Climate, soil type, topography, and other plants growing around. That's all terroir. And every country has a different terroir, right? So first with climate, we talked the difference between climate and weather. Today, the weather is cloudy, but the climate in Korea is temperate, meaning you have warm summers and cold winters. And that's usually wine-growing regions are all that way. Even South Africa has a winter. Australia has a winter, but it's not like Korean winter, that's for sure. Soil type, topography. Did you look the word up? It's basically mountains or flat, maritime, where, basically. And if you look at all, you just type in any country wine. Type in Australian wine or New Zealand wine or French wine, and you go to image, and you're going to see mountains and flat, mountains and flat. It's very typical. And then saltwater, maritime, or river. So the terroir, almost every place is kind of the same in the way that usually there's mountains, flatland, water. It's like Pengsu. Pengsu, right? It's almost like mountain, flat, water. So it's the same logic in there, which is interesting, actually. I wonder if anybody's studied that. What is Korea's geographical characteristics? What does Korea have a lot of rock of? I don't know the Korean name of it. It's everywhere here.
지리적 특성 이런 거.
Granite.
화강암.
Hwaseong-am?
화강암.
알아요? Well, here, streets. Korea has a lot of granite. I mean, it's almost everywhere. You have sidewalks with it. Granite's a very hard stone. It's actually expensive. In America, it's expensive. People pay for it. Here, it's everywhere. But that would be part of the geographic characteristics here. Would be the stone. Good for grape growing? I don't know. I don't know. It's a very hard mineral. AOC, the alphabet soup, Vin de Pays, and Vin de Tavote. Now, this one you don't really see that often in Korea. You don't see it at all, actually. I've never seen it since then. But Vin de Pays, I've bought some Vin de Pays, and table wine is basically everywhere. Appellation d'origine contrôlée, right? Which appellation means province, right? Consonanto, puncto, province. Obviously, original control. It's pretty simple meaning. It just means it's from that area and it's controlled. This one, like I said, I'm not very familiar with. I've seen it online, but I've never seen it up face to face. But it's part of it. And it's sometimes abbreviated as this. Vin de Pays means country wine. When I was a chef, I used to buy buy cases of Vin de Pays. It's like gambling though. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But generally they're very decent wines. If you do wine by the glass, it's the perfect wine for by the glass. You're selling a bottle of wine, if you sell a bottle of wine, they're going to see the bottle of wine. You know what I mean? And they're going to see the AOC and things like that. But if you have red wine by the glass, you say, oh, it's a Bordeaux. They're not going to ask, oh, is it AOC or Vin de Pays or whatever? They're not going to ask. They're going to see. But if you're going to sell a bottle of wine, it should be an AOC. Because that's what they see. People see that and go, oh, it's good wine. Or should be good wine. And then table wine. On the table. This is just about it. This is not necessarily test material. Then just labels. This one, like I said, I never really sampled them, so I really can't talk about it like that much. Vin de Pays I've talked a lot about. Now, if you go to France, you can buy a bottle of table wine for €1. €1 gets you a bottle of wine, and they're generally pretty good. Usually, in at least Western thought, American thought, this is garbage wine. It's generally, we think that way, but California table wines are not that good. They're usually very sweet or very sour. But in France, they seem to have a better quality. So, and a lot of times, small vineyards, family vineyards. So they don't pay for the stamp, the AOC stamp, too expensive. So they just sell as table wine. This is a interesting thing that's going on now because that's what this bottle is. Where have we found that out? This is from another class. I don't know whose this is, but it's on the back here. It says grapes from the European Union, and this is a big thing that France is fighting against because this is bottled in France, but it's not grown in France, and it might not even be fermented in France. It might be made outside of France, shipped in a big truck to France, and they put it in the bottles, put the cork on. It's like, oh, bottled in France, not made in France. But bottled in France. So France is really fighting this, the AOC thing, because it's legal to do that. An interesting thing, like with New Zealand, when England joined the EU, laws changed for all the Commonwealth countries. And New Zealand wine production was kept down because England wanted Yongogi and they wanted wool. They didn't want anything else. But when they joined the EU, it was open market. And that's where their wines really took off. So this is another thing, because this is just as red wine. It says Cuvée Spéciale, and I'm sure Cuvée means what? Grand Cru. Cuvée means growth. And it says special growth. But it probably doesn't mean anything. I've never seen that designation. Once again, a lot of labels, they can put special, reserve, a lot of words on there. It doesn't really mean it. Gold medal winner. Who's gold medal? My gold medal. A lot of that doesn't matter. And like you see Cuvée Spéciale, you know what a Grand Cru is now. right? Great growth. Oh, Oak Tree View. Yeah, that must be good, but not really. How that's written is very, very tricky. So France is fighting very hard to keep these laws correct. Bordeaux, Burgundy, Alsace. Right? We're tasting two wines tasting one from the Burgundy region and from the Bordeaux region in the Alsace. The reason why I put this up here is that this gives you a good cross-section of French wines. The Bordeaux is a little lighter than the Burgundies. Burgundies always goes with big mouthfeel, heavy. Right? Bordeaux's a little lighter, more heady in there. And the Alsace is more of a lighter, it's near Champagne region too, so lighter, sweeter wines, usually white wines. So this just gives you a good idea of regions to look for. Côtes-du-Rhône, this is the Bordeaux region, Burgundy region, Alsace region, and like I said, France is up here, Loire Valley. Let's see what's on here. I've never heard of this chateau. It's just in the Saint Emilion area. I looked it up online. It's a small vineyard. It's not a very large one. So how it ended up here, I'm not sure. Get to the Bordeaux map. Alsace. Cru Classé is a Bordeaux, but it's used in a lot of other areas of France, but it's a Bordeaux classification. Premier Cru means first growth, Grand Cru means great growth. So a Premier Cru would be the beginning of a Grand Cru. You have many Premier Cru, then you become a Grand Cru. I think it's 75 years. That's the time is not that. Just to know what a Grand Cru is and a Premier Cru. I don't have a good map on that, okay. But once again, you guys are on your own about taking notes. But so that's basically not a lot of note taking, really. There's really not a lot of deep information, just take some time. Thirsty. What we're going to need is wine openers. Come on down. Four people, please. Who wants to do the board? Well, I want you guys to open up bottles. Okay, I'm done opening up bottles. You big boys and girls should do that. While they're doing that, she's going to write the board, and you guys are going to get yourself a plate like that. Okay? So come on down. Come on down. Set yourself up. Mommy's not going to come help you. it's open. Oh, good, thank you very much. Oh, wait, thank you very much. All right, guys. Did you ever open before, first time? Yeah, so do it here. Learn it here. Do you remember how, let's do that now. Let's just slowly do it, right? First, take out the knife. Right? And then you turn it. And you peel it off. Close it. Open it. Take it. And point, put it in the center, and then up. Just to that point. Put it like that. Okay? Which one should we have first? I think we'll have this one.
어떻게 가져간지 몰라서 치즈 넣는 건데 와인을 줘요.
Yeah, like this.
근데 있어봐. 근데 쓰자.
Professor,
Yes.
2 person, 1 plate, or 1 person, 1 plate?
I think one table, 2 plates. There's 10 plates, right? There's 5 tables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what you're supposed to take off. That's all. Yeah. This way. No, this one's a little different. This one has this 2-step thing here. It works the same way. It's just this is making. So you know you're in the center. We can get to the champagne. Who's going to open the champagne? You? You going to open the champagne? Champagne fun. But there's no variety, NV. New World wine, Old World wine rarely have varietals. There's no varietals. So when you get to, she's right. This goes here. Right? Wine NV. You guys should know that. Okay? No. This point, and then you make circles. Ooh. Hold on for a second. Yeah, this court floor. I'm really surprised. He's down too far. He's way down too far. Come up there. This one has a 2-step on it. 1. Okay, 2016. Chattanooga Park. No, I'm sorry, I was confused. Okay, got two more. Somebody. Two more to open. Two more bottles to open. We're not gonna go anywhere until we open the wine. Please, come on down. If you never opened it, please come down and open a bottle of wine.
안 열어본 사람 나와서 열어보세요.
Thank you. Next. Come on, boys. Learn how to do this. This is where you learn how to do it. Question? Right? Around. Scrape up. Close. Open. Close down to there. And hold tightly and pull up. These corks are very tight. These are very tight corks. This is going to be number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Don't mix them up. This is no way. You got it? First of all, you're supposed to do what he did. Now, New Zealand and Australian wines, they have twist-offs. Twist-off tops. Is that good or bad? It's good in a way because they say it saves them money. They make better wine. This is branded. Ooh, yeah. You ready? Hold it tight. Got a little too far. Just until you see the spoon disappear. Really tight. There you go. No, so that's pretty good. Yeah, all the way up.
나 그냥 벤탈 끼고 나올까? 그냥 폭사시킬 수 있어.
They do a little circle. See, if you see watch a wine waiter, sommelier open a bottle of wine, it's poetry. I mean, they do it so smoothly. Here, we're all fighting with it and things like that. See the cork difference?
세인트 에밀리오.
Look at the cork difference. The shaft of the top was recorked, a brand new cork, and this is an old cork.
무슨 세 글자로 끝이야.
Number 1. Nice one. Nice pop. Take that back with you. Now, a little talk about corks. You can see from there, you see the difference in color? This has been recorked. This is a new cork, a brand new cork, actually. Maybe even before, just before it came to Korea, they put new cork in there. This one's been in there for a while. These are, if you look at the corks too, these are natural corks. They're made from pure cork material, and these are actually very expensive. New Zealand and Australia both are going for twist off or plastic because first of all it's cheaper and not needed that much. Need new paper? He does. Go.
빨리 가네?
Let me go make. You got new ones? Who needs new ones? Raise your hand. No, I gotta make copies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, bunch. 1 minute. I'm gonna go make copies. I'll move this over here. While I'm gone, I want you guys to taste number 1. Only number 1 alone, together. Okay? And talk amongst yourselves. Right? And then I'll come back and then we'll talk about it. But just do number 1. Why did I do number 1, number 2? Why did I do this? How did I determine that? Because I know this should be a stronger wine. This should be a lighter wine. That's from experience. So please taste number 1. Do the numbers. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. When I was out, I had the students taste the number 1 wine without me. Take out your wine chart so we can talk the same language. Okay. What should let's see what I expect. Out of both of these, we should be like 6:30 to 4 o'clock, 6:30. We should be in that flavor zone. I'm guessing. Like I said, I haven't tasted these yet. You know, but once again, experience will tell me that that's where we're going to be. We're going to be from nutty, caramelized, woody, earthy, and you can get into a little of the chemical parts. But let's do the numbers. Not a bright ruby. It's not bright. It's a little dark. All right. What about the nose? Big nose, small nose? Big? Big nose. What about 50-50 then? Yeah. I would say small nose, personally. So I would go with small nose people. What do you smell? Sulnepse, yeah, that's that's just a lot of people that say Sulnepse, you smell alcohol, but there's something else there. I'm not quite sure. To me, it's almost like a wood smell. Wood, namu smell. Green wood. Green wood, not old wood. Then sip, slurp, swish. Mouthfeel. The body. Light, medium, heavy. Light. To me, between the two, it should have a, it's not syrupy, it's not heavy. It's light. Tannic, right? You get it instantly, you get the tannic. Now what about the finish? You're doing the Anjou thing. It's very hard not to drink and eat. You know, she's you know, you guys been doing it forever. That's a Korean habit of the Anjou thing. It's very hard to break. But what about the finish? Long, medium, short. Long, real long finish. I still have it. It's still sitting on there. I get the very strong tannics on the side and a lot of itmul. Not as heavy as I thought it would be, but the next one should be a little heavier. That's for sure. What do you taste? This is what I get. Very strong resinous flavor. Oak, cedar. I smell namu and I taste namu. You could say even like smoky burnt toast. You could say that. But it's definitely 6 o'clock on that chart to me. Once again, everybody has a little different taste. So it's hard to say, but that's where it sits with me. But I do get a little fruit. Green apple. Not a ripe apple, a green apple. But really tannic on my lips or on the sides. How's the cheese? Now with the wine, first impression what? First, not taste, not smell, impression. What was your first impression? Mine was, it was too warm. Temperature. It seemed a little too high. Now, if you go to the temperature chart, right? It's a little too warm. I prefer my wines cooler anyway. All the time I put it down in the refrigerator. But that was my first impression. I go, oh, should be a little cooler. It has a little less bite to it. Acidity, fairly high, but not citra high, but it's there. Aftertaste, we talk about aroma, body, bouquet, finish, nice finish. With the cheese is really nice. I just ate the cheese. I still have a wine taste, and the Gita and the cheese balances it out really, really well. Length, very long. Mouthfeel, a little light. I'm surprised as light as it is. Is this a quaffer? You guys missed out. A lot of you guys missed out on the mid-test. Quaffer is wine you just drink for fun. Oh yeah, I want to talk to you about sangrias. You guys want to make sangria in class? see why not. It's a lot of fun. So, table by table, okay? One recipe. And then what I'll do, I'll order, you guys got apples, fruit, oranges, pineapple, cider. I've seen a lot of different, there's hundreds of recipes on it. So what we'll do is each table will make a type of sangria. There's white sangrias too, they're not all red. And then we'll do a taste test that way. We'll do that like the last class. Sangria is a quaffing wine. It's for drinking for fun. Is this a quaffing wine? Not really. You drink a lot of this, you're gonna wake up with a really big headache. It's meant to be with food. It really is meant to be with food. The palate is a combination of everything. The palate, number 11. That is a combination of all the flavors. And so what do you think about it? Basically, I like it, I don't like it. That's what it, if you use the wine tasting term, palate, it has a good palate. Or it has a bad palate, or it's not my type of palate. So do you like it? Yes, it's a fine quality wine. It is. It's a very, I'm very happy with it. Let's pull back the chart. Well, let's go to number 2. Well, a little rubier, a little clearer, a little brighter. Actually, much brighter. Oh, different, wow, different, very different nose. A lighter nose, a little smoother nose. The first one did have like a Sulnemse, kind of raw, R-A-W smell. This has more of a finished smell to it. 4, 5, 6. I did this in the right order. Because you always go lighter to heavier. This is much more tannic. And actually not that much flavor to it. Sweet. Okay, who tastes sweet? Sweet. Not salt sweet, but sugars, extra sugar. No, I can see what you're saying. I wouldn't say that. But if you say that, that's fine. Very tannicky, right? Tannins, very high, dry, dulta. Right? Yeah, very dulta. Mouthfeel? She says heavy. I go with medium. I would personally go with medium. I don't think it's a very heavy one. I'm getting an Ipmul again. Except taking cheese with that. I'm going to go back to number 1 because I'm curious. Oh, okay. Go back to number 1. Because always you drink light to heavy. And which one do you think is light and which one is heavy? Number 1 and number 2?
Number 1.
Is heavy or light?
Light.
Light. Who thinks number 1 is lighter than number 2? To me, number 1 is much lighter, much fruitier. Actually, I like number 1 better. I like number 1 better, even though number 2 is known to be a very important wine producer. They've been producing wine since the 1600s. So they're very, very known for it. And 2016 is a good year for them, too. It's good. I see why I get great. grapey flavors. I'm up on more on the fruity, vegetative side.
이거 됐어. 이거 사다.
I can see this. Olives. I can see that. Black olives, I can see that. Even not fresh tasting per se, but pinon. Yeah, you get a little tea. Not necessarily tobacco. I don't get smokiness. Number one, the Saint Emilion, it has much more smoke to it.
맛있다. 살짝 맛있지. 뻥 진짜 맛있어.
I'd say the grapes to the end. Because the grapes, eat a grape right now, they taste like candy, right? They're really, really sweet. So they're eating horrible baguette. Horrible baguette. Not even baguette. I don't know what it is. Right? That's bad bread. That really is. Why do you get bad bread? Once again, I'm very surprised. I was expecting this to be a better quality wine. And maybe it is. Maybe my taste has changed. Let's talk about price. Well, let's talk about this. NV, non-varietal. There's no varieties listed. It might be listed in Korean on the back. I don't know. Anybody look? Because Korean law sometimes requires those labels on there. But generally, there's no varietals listed on there. So they're both 2016, which is a good year, by the way. 2016 is supposed to be one of the better years. They're from opposite sides of the country, but they're both near water. One's near the Mediterranean, and this is by the Atlantic Ocean. So different water temperature. Which one you like better? Number two. Who liked number two better? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's about half, right? Yeah, a little. So who liked number one better? And who? I don't care. Andrew Wild. Well, it's fine. It's good. This is the first time you guys taste this stuff. I don't expect you guys to like, oh, this is great. But I guarantee you, the next time you taste a red wine from France, you'll have something to compare it to. You say, oh yeah, I remember in class. This one and that one. So it's basically 50-50 how it is. Personally, I would prefer this. How much? It's a Grand Cru. Grand Cru is generally great growth. They're generally good. How much? Well, let's start here. Chateau de Pop. Chateau de Neuf de Pop. Chateau means castle, means new, and of the Pope. Pope of the church. Look that up. It's not homework. Just look it up. You find it in Korean. Interesting history. Very interesting history. So, how much?
4만 원?
Up? 4만 원?
5만 원? 2만 원?
Yeah, 5만 원 down? Okay, anyway.
48,000원?
Yeah, all right. And it's not, that's a pretty good price. It's a pretty good price. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's a nice wine. Number one? How much?
5,000원?
Saint Emilion is known for Grand Crus. I mean, they're known for putting out quality wines. She said 5. Yeah.
깜짝이야.
you guys, so you gotta understand that it's really not about price. Personally, I like this a lot more than that. They're both wines of quality though. They're both known to be good wines. They come from regions that are very established winemakers. But the taste is pretty equal. I find number one a little smoother. But my taste might have changed being here. The more I think about it, it probably has. Because, I mean, when I go with my friends and stuff, we drink things like makgeolli and beer now. I mean, I don't drink as much wine as I used to. And at this price, I really can't. Teachers don't make that much money. You don't make that much money to drink that kind of wine. But I make enough for this. This is like, once again, I'm very pleased with this for the price. I think it's a very good wine. Any questions? The grape tastes nice. You bing bing to your head? No. No, I am. I feel it. Yeah, no, I feel it already. Everybody want some more? Well, so you didn't drink it at all, right? That's okay. Once again, I only got 2 bottles of this because I kind of know. I know that, from teachers, you guys really don't like French wines, but no, it is. French wines are the established wines. They're the standard that they use, and this is where I spent a lot of the money. I guarantee the New Zealand wines next week you will like, because it's lighter, fruitier. And when we get the Canadian, I got some ice wine. And you guys, who's had ice wine before? Ice wine not out? Or Morla? Morla? Ice wines? Yeah, this is what's going to be the video. There's a fungus, a kapami, called Botulis. And what it does, it lives on the poto and takes all the mul out, leaving a very sweet, natural sweet juice. Now, we're used to Coca-Cola and Sprite. We're used to sweet things. But 200 years ago, a sweet, natural sweet wine was like magic. And an ice wine, being German style, is very, very nice. And the Canadian ones are very spicy too. They're very good. That's interesting. Take a grape. This is number 1. I had a grape in number 1, and number 1 is extremely smooth after it. I thought it'd be sour, because sweet sour thing. No, it's smooth out with a red grape, that's for sure. Hey, number 1 does it for me. Yeah, I'm sold on number 1. I'm sorry. Number 1 is the wine for me. Any questions? Any questions on mid test? Any questions on anything? So I'll post the homework. Don't worry about the homework. I'll post something up there. But basically, start looking for sangria as a table. You're going to be at this table, you're going to be at that table. Let you guys work together. Work together. Work together. Basically, go to the internet, find a recipe. 1 A4 paper, handwritten down. But that'll be at like towards the last class. Why? Why don't we do sangria earlier? Because it's fun. It's fun. It's not real serious study. Sangria is that. But sangria is popular in Korea. There's on the beach, Spain Club. Spain Club on the beach. You ever been there? They make their own sangria there. And it's very nice. It's actually I like sangrias. And a lot of people like drink, wine. Oh no, sangria, not real wine. No, it is. Everything, if you like it, it's real. That's for sure. I like that, that's real. I like that. Okay, any questions? Please enjoy. If there's more, there is more wine, that's for sure. There's some cheese too. So, good. Which one did you like better? All right. You don't like it? He likes it. I got the same message, right? You got a message that all classes are online, right? Next week is online, and then the following week we're going to have a tasting. Now, if we're not going to have a tasting, I will send you a message. And if you don't have to come to class anyway, but you're going to get this video. You know what I mean? Which is with a tasting, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you want to stay home, by all means. You don't have to come in. It doesn't affect your grade. It doesn't affect your attendance or anything like that. But once again, the school's trying to keep the Shilsup classes, the practical classes, practical, right? But if you want to stay home, that's fine. But we have basically a whole week, well, actually 2 weeks before we meet again. So hopefully by then things will be a little better. I know it's scary. It is scary. So nobody's forcing you to come in. If you don't want to come in, that's fine. I will send a text message whether yes or no. But I'd like yes as an answer for because what else can we do? Tasting, you know, so. Okay.
학생 전가